The life of a YouTuber or a videographer or a photographer or anyone working with computers, you face the days when you're in the middle of work and it crashes and you lose your work. It happens. It's inevitable that it's going to happen to people, and that's what just happened. Once again, I was recording 10 minutes in, talking about crocheting my wick, taking the rubber bands off, and I crashed the computer and I lost it all. So I'm just here starting again. Literally my reaction was, oh shit, that sucks. I just waited for it to restart. I'm at the point now where I don't get mad, you know. I'm like, okay, well, that's part of the game. I'm gonna just do it again. So what's going on? This is that guy, not Locks, not Nation, and I'm here crocheting my wick. I got this triple-headed wick needle, and I got a double-headed needle off of Amazon. It finally came in the mail after freaking forever, and I took the rubber bands off this wick so that I can crochet it and officially close it. I was watching a YouTuber by the name of Yellow, shout out to Yellow on YouTube, YELLO__, and he was making a pretty high quality video about closing the wicks on your locks with this exact same product. And he was the first person that's ever showed me on the internet how to close a wick like this, because when you look at other people that do wicks, they don't show their technique, and this is the only technique that I've come across now that's actually going to allow me to close the lock up. So what I mean by closing it is that you can see some of these locks are still kind of you know, I can't really put my finger through that one anymore, but like some of them, you know, you can put your finger through it still, right? And that's because the rubber bands don't actually close the lock like you would think they're supposed to. It just takes a lot longer. So I've been doing this essentially after I put the rubber bands on. I crocheted between each section, and then I took the rubber bands off, and now I'm crocheting the areas where the rubber bands were for the past few months. And essentially this is going to give me the locked look of the big wicks that people end up getting, except mine don't stand up on end because they're super long already. But you know, this is the way. And you know, after you crochet it a bit, you do a little bit of this palm rolling here, and essentially you can see now how my locks are gonna be, you know, as a wick. This dread specifically was about 4 or 5 skinnier locks that I wanted to put together, because the side and the back of my head now is all going to become thick Congos. So as you can see, there's still some rubber bands up at the top here. You know, my finger doesn't really go through them as much, so because they've been crocheted in the past, a couple months ago I did it. So I'm just gonna take off the rest of these rubber bands here real quick. Now, rubber bands on locks for so long, I've noticed that they can get stuck in there, they can break in there, they can create like a crevice. If you have the rubber band in one spot for too long, it creates like a dent in your locks, and this is almost like a form of scarring, to be honest. You can see though, actually, now that I took the rubber band out, these are not closed. I can fit my finger through here. So I'm basically just trying to close up that stuff. On this lock specifically, my other dreads, I haven't really decided if I'm going to be keeping them open or closed. Actually, the ones on this side of my head, my big ones, I'm going to be keeping these open. I have started a few more wicks with rubber bands now, just a couple more, one here and then one on this side as well. Basically two side locks I want to have as big thick dreads too. So really getting into the thicker dread movement these days. Really happy to have all the rubber bands out of this. Oh, there's still a couple more in there I can see. Now I'm getting happy to take out the rest of these rubber bands. I don't really like having them in my hair. But you can see now how, like, you know, it didn't close at all, right? Like that's all open lock. So, and then now all down here is closed, and then up by the scalp is closed because that's where the new growth has come in. So essentially now I just need to sit here and close these locks up. So since dreadlocks in general, since they're hair it's hair that's fallen off your head and caught into a lock, you know, essentially any hair that's not by your root is not going to be attached to your scalp anymore. So by me crocheting these areas is like me just tearing already torn hair. So it's not going to be as damaging as, say, somebody that's crocheting the roots to be tight. Because when you crochet at the root, that's when you start to get pulling of your hair follicles coming out and everything. So I would avoid 100% crocheting near the roots at all. Even for frizzy hair, like just leave it. But it actually might have been easier if I had kept the rubber bands in while I crocheted this, because I'm noticing now that it's harder to crochet with the rubber bands not there. So, you know, I've been using the rubber bands as a guide up until this point. I would just crochet between each rubber band section, and then when I took the rubber bands out, I would just crochet the rest of that where the rubber band has kind of creviced my lock. But I mean, essentially this is working. Essentially this is all I have to do now is just keep crocheting this area, and then this whole lock is actually going to be closed, and it will be my first official crocheted wick that I did by myself. So I'm going to return with another video once I get this fully done, and I'll give you guys a nice update from outside or whatever. But that's essentially what I wanted to show you today, is that this wick is almost really closed up. So appreciate you for watching. I'm going to end this video now on this retake before it crashes again, and I'm going to save the footage, and I'll return with an update sooner than you can blink. Until next time, peace out, one love, stay happy and natty. See you around. Peace.